brothers and sisters, friends and comrades. I want to say very quickly that I am a transportation worker as well. We don't move people, we move cargo. And it has a very important role in the global economy, as all of you may know. But I just want to take a moment in response to what the previous speaker had said, to read you something from a book. It's entitled, The ILWU Story, 6 Decades of Militant Unionism. This came out several decades ago. But in 1953, at our biennial convention in San Francisco, we formulated 10 guiding principles, the first of which I'd like to read because I think that it has relevance and importance to those who are in this room and to those who may be listening. A union is built on its members. The strength, understanding, and unity of the membership can determine the union's course and its advancements. The members who work, make up the union, and pay its dues can best determine their own destiny. If the facts are honestly presented to the members in the ranks, they will be the best judge of what should be done and how it should be done. In brief, it is the membership of the union which is the best judge of its own welfare, not the officers, not the employers, not the politicians, and not the fair weather friends of labor. I think that speaks for itself. That's one of the reasons why the ILWU has managed to survive. It's a bottom-up union, not top-down. And we have autonomy. That's not to say that we don't have our problems, and many of them have been well documented, especially in the last couple of years with the attacks that have been leveled against the ILWU coming from the Pacific Northwest and other parts of the coast. Let me just say this. It is important for all of us in this room and for those who are listening to understand this. The time for division, self-interest of various organizations in the House of Labor, so-called social justice organizations, grassroots movement, we have to come together and connect the dots. These attacks that are happening to us is a part of an austerity measure that has been well documented. Part of the problem here in this country is that we lack class consciousness. White supremacy, racism has affected all organizations, including the ILWU. And it was because of the recognition of racism and white supremacy and its role in dividing labor that in 1934, when we had the general strike of all maritime cargo on the West Coast, that Harry Bridges and other radicals, leftists, members of the Communist Party, of the then ILWU Local 10, met with black churches because black people were crossing the picket line in 1934. Why? Not because they were anti-union, but because the only time we had a chance to work is when there was a strike. We had to go to work as scabs. When the trade union movement does not respond to the needs of the black community, why should the black community respect the trade union movement? Let's be clear on this. And Bridges and others had the consciousness and vision. They were Marxists and they understood the relationship between class and race, and they appealed to the black community to join this, to support the strike in exchange for being part of the membership. People operate on the basis of self-interest, not rhetoric, not words. The black community accepted that proposal. And for that reason, the strike changed. Yes, that was a very important part of the strike, and it's not very well known. I know I take the opportunity to talk about it wherever I can. It's not even highlighted as it should be in our own ILWU history. But because I am the beneficiary of that, being a third-generation longshoreman, I can't get away from it. That's what drives me to this very day, that history and that struggle. And when the black community supported the strike, it changed. It put more pressure on the employer, because the employer had one less chip in his bag of tricks in order to divide the working class. Black workers and white workers, immigrant workers, we are all inextricably linked by who we are and what we do. And we need to understand that and come together. I'm a little disappointed. How many people in the audience today are part of the AC Transit Union? Okay. How many of you are from Muni in San Francisco? That's okay. This is just one of many, one of the beginning of these kinds of town hall meetings that we need to have. But we can't win these struggles without all of the transportation workers being on board. And let's be clear about something. Solidarity is not a slogan. It means that you have to give something up to support those who are in struggle. Let me give you an example of what that means. When we had the struggle going on with EGT in Longview, Washington, we had job actions going on in the Port of Oakland. As a matter of fact, we, as well as thousands of members of the community, marched on the port and shut it down in November and in December, 2 consecutive months. We did not have the support of our leadership in doing that. It was a rank and file action, and there was a clear unity between some members of the ILWU rank and file, the Occupy movement, and the rank and file in Local 21 in Longview. That is the only way that we can effectuate any kind of change. There has to be solidarity. It means that in our instance, workers had to give up a day's pay. Yes, we've done it before. We did it quite recently when the independent truckers who were protesting what I call working in situations that can best be described as sweatshop on wheels.
All right.
Where they can't go to the restroom, they can't leave their rigs without being fined, having to wait long hours in order for them to receive a load or get one, or to deliver one. They took action at the port, and we supported that. We have to, because we're all workers. It does not matter if they don't belong to a union. Most people in the United States of America don't belong to a union. We need to have a union of the unemployed in this country. That's what we need. And we need to recognize this, that unions have become marginalized in some part by their own doing. Yes, I'll say it again, by their own doing, to act as special interest groups. We've got some of the best health care in the country, in the world. But I want health care for everybody, not just ILWU members. In 1984, when we refused to unload cargo from South Africa on the Ned Lloyd Kimberley for 11 days, that's worker solidarity. And it cost us, yes, it cost us. But wouldn't it have been more significant if there had been actions taken by AC Transit, BART workers, and other workers acting in solidarity with the ILWU? I'm going to close with this. We need to have specific types of organizing strategies. 6 months before Dr. King was assassinated, he was made an honorary member of Local 10. He came and spoke at our local. Yes, he did. He said that the Negro freedom movement and the trade union movement in the United States represented the bulwark of democracy, the cornerstone of democracy. He was talking about the class. That's why he was killed. We need to take labor to the pulpit. We need to be in the churches, synagogues, mosques, interfaith gatherings on Sunday to talk about these issues, how it's related to all of us. As a man of color who's a third-generation longshoreman, these jobs represented by BART, AC Transit, Muni, the ILWU, are a clear pathway out of poverty. Yes, these are the jobs that have been made available to us to come out of poverty, to become members of a union. And they're trying to close those doors now. Why? Because the American working class has been bamboozled, picked off, because people are now resentful of the fact that they've had to take cut in pay, have had to take 2 and 3 jobs. They are now resentful of individuals who belong to a union. That's wrong.
That's right.
Free ridership. Why not? For people who are unemployed. How else can they find a job? One more point I want to make. To whom is the directorship of the board of directors of BART responsible to? One thing we know, everywhere those tracks are laid, the value of the property goes up. Developers' interest. We need to begin to talk about that. This is not just a struggle for the BART workers. This is a struggle for all of us. And let's start responding to it in that way. An injury to one is an injury to all. I didn't mean to talk this long. Thank you very much. And one other thing, one short point. This broadcast today is critical. Labor needs to have its own radio and television station. We get bombarded all the time on CNN, MSNBC, Fox News with lies, things that marginalize, disrespect the working class. We need to have our own voice. This is a very, very important gathering. We need to have more of it. Thank you very much.